You are listening to the Hello Sport Podcast.
Welcome back to the Hello Sport Podcast. Home of unqualified opinion and unwavering bias. Nailed it. I've been known to fuck that up in the past. It's not my job. It's not my role. But I am opening today because I am joined by the incomparable Sebastian. Sebbo, thanks for filling in, bruh.
Yep.
Good to see you.
Yeah, you too, mate. Bloody, I'm filling in a bit these days.
You are filling in a bit, but you're good at it, mate. And the people love Sebbo.
Just
so
slot on in.
You're always the logical choice. Where's Tom? Tom and his boil aren't getting on.
Yep.
Now, he's talked about his boil on Monday. It's not a secret. The man's in boil hell. He's having a boil crisis.
What's the difference between boil and assist? Can you tell?
I don't know. They're both foul in my estimation. I think he had an ingrown that's gone fucking rogue on him.
Yeah.
And I think it went away and then it came back and it's just like his whole leg has been taken over by this boil infection thing. It popped. Then he talked about it on the potty on Monday and a dribbler put up a fucking comment being like, my mate's toe got infected, went on antibiotics, then went on boil medication or gout medication or something like that. Then it got really infected and then he got his lower leg amputated.
Yeah, wow.
So cysts aren't really caused by infection and don't cause pain. Like they can get infected and stuff, and but most of them are benign. But boils are like painful, full of
So
pus.
boil's an infection.
Yeah.
And does it look different though, or does it just look like
No,
a
they
big
look
lump?
similar. They can
Yeah.
look similar.
Yeah, because I got one of my boys, I got a cyst.
More
had it
red,
the
though.
other day. He had it on his benign though. Benign means that it's
A benign cyst is non-cancerous. But a boil, they're usually red and swollen and like gross.
yeah, right. Okay, Tommy, always with he's always got skin things, even though like whatever it is. Very skin-related ailments. I've always got tightness in the back and things, you know.
Well, you and I both.
Yeah, we're back guys. Tommy's a skin guy.
He's a skin guy.
You know, you've got your own. Everyone's got their own crosses that they have. And as much as a back guy's tough, I'd rather it than a skin guy, maybe.
Well, I mean, I don't know how much time you spend on like TikTok sometimes, but I've fallen into skin-based algorithms before where like people have these topical cream withdrawals and their whole skin just flakes and gets
Well, because
super
they've been
thin.
applying it so much.
Yeah, because maybe they've got psoriasis and they apply these topical steroid creams so much that their skin just goes to shit. And you can't even basically go outside. It gets really irritated. You flake near to death.
Like that
so
stuff makes
fucked.
me feel icky. You know what I mean? Like I've got that. Is it a disease where looking at like certain skins when there's heaps of like dimples or holes in them or whatever?
Yes.
Yeah, I've got like I'm actually fucking just. I don't even want to.
That's called something.
Yeah. It's like some like I actually feel weird right now just even mentioning it.
Trypophobia?
Yeah, like I triggerphobia. Something like that. I don't know. Like right now, I'm feeling very tense, and I want to get out of my head
Because
but,
of
like,
dimpled skin? Like,
but,
it's like...
Oh, when Tom once had this giant wart on his hand in like year 8, and it was like it had all those little like ins and outs kind of thing. I had a nightmare that I woke up with it on my face. So in my dream, I woke up and looked in the mirror, and his wart was on my face, and it just freaked me the fuck out. And I just get these shivers, man. Like yeah, it's another one though. Of Tom's another skin thing related there.
But like you said, cross to bear.
Yeah,
The skin's not being kind to him at times, and it's reared its ugly head again. So our thoughts and prayers with Tom Birmingham.
Yeah.
Hopefully he got on top of it. He had to go he went to the hospital the other night. Was told after reading the amputation story.
Yeah.
So he wigs out. I can understand that.
I can understand hearing that you'd rush straight to, but I also understand that probably the hospital's like always understaffed. Like we'll get to you in about 4 days.
Well, they said we'll get to you in 5 hours. You can wait in the car. He went in after 5 hours. This must have been like 1 or 2 in the morning, and they go, mate, there's still 12 people in front of you.
Yeah.
So
even when you've got 2 babies that are like 6 months old screaming and crying, when I had to go in hospital a lot when they got sick, and like you don't get seen because unless it's like an emergency and you're in the emergency room, they just go like, yeah, you can look after the babies. They seem okay. We'll just wait there for 5 hours.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I got 2 screaming babies here.
Yeah.
They need their mother. But, like, you're just not top of the priority list. Unless you're fucking, like, gashed open or something, you don't get to see anyone.
I was thinking about that when we were in like Royal Women's when we had little Suki, right?
Yeah.
And everyone in there is fucking lovely, like beautiful people. Yeah. But I kept thinking to myself, and I kept remarking that the surrounds aren't very nice. Yeah. There was like on the 3rd level, I think, where you stay overnight, there was a garden. There used to be a garden. There's a name on the wall. I think it was called something garden. And it was shut and it looked decrepit and they were retiling and it just looked like shit. And I was thinking to myself, surely some super wealthy motherfucker has had a profound experience in here, right? Like he's had a kid that was sick that's been saved or whatever that just goes, you know what? Here's a couple of bill.
100%. Like, honestly, the care we got, because we had the boys in the NICU, what's it ever called, baby ICU for like 40 days. And then the staff are so good. Like the nurses are just elite, right? Elite. Absolutely elite. That we all just gave them presents when we left. You know what I mean? Like Millie's cups and stuff, because we were just like, this has been amazing. Now we're just a couple little ceramicists and golf content guy over here. If I had the wealth to go, hey, I'm fucking CEO of like whatever. Here, you want a new garden? Here's my guy or my girl who does all the, interior design or something. Like,
that's what I'm thinking.
Why aren't they doing that?
Like, if the ceramicist and the golf content creator can give beautiful gifts like that, where my wealthy mates at? You know what I mean? Where the wealthy people at in this country? It just shocks me to my fucking core that that's not a thing.
Yeah. Like, especially, like, I get if you're a tight ass in life, but I think the one thing that can make you fork out a little bit of coin, even if you're a tight ass, is that your baby brought into this world where you have no control over. You probably CEO's got control over everything. I know everyone. I fire everyone. I know where the money is. Now, you've got no fucking control when your baby's into this world, and there might be a complication, whether it's early or there's an illness or something, and people come and look after the baby, and then eventually it's in your arms and you go home. Like, if that moment can't make you fork out 0.0001% of your wealth for a nice garden, you're a fuckwit.
Yeah, shave a bit off, bro. Shave a bit off. What are we talking about?
No, I pay my tax. We all pay the taxes, you fucking idiot.
This isn't a tax, though. This is a gift. This is a gift. And aesthetics, Sebbo, in my opinion, are important. You can't just forget aesthetics. You've got to create an environment that lifts a mood or soothes one at least.
100%. It's the same as like even the nurses, again, above and beyond. So there must be some room that I'm not aware of where they go into and it's an oasis because the attitude they have when they come to their job is amazing. But like, you're right with aesthetics. Like, if you're working these long 12-hour shifts,
12 hours too, what, 7 till 7?
Yeah, stuff like that. If they can go out to a garden where it's a nice vibe, maybe there's a bit of a small water feature.
There'd be water.
Yeah. Like hydrangeas and shit. Like just nice stuff. It just creates a nice air of peace and tranquility, and they're the ones that are going to help you through the next however long you're there for. I completely agree for it. I think people need to appreciate that part of the world more than anywhere. I think when your baby comes into the world, that area should be the nicest it can possibly
100%. Like, you should be able to, because they're all the babies in these little what are they called? Like
the incubator things, or
they're on wheels and they're like a little plastic bucket.
Yeah.
What would you even call that?
I mean, it's like a trolley. It's a trolley. It acts as like a bath and a bed.
It's like a trolley bassinet thing.
Yeah.
And everyone's wheeling around, and in the great state of New South Wales, everyone's wrapped in those pink little blankets, right? And that's great. But I'm sort of like, where you can't go outside and take in a little bit of vitamin D from the sun. You can't get out into like a little piece of nature. And I just like, why the fuck hasn't some rich cunt donated the needs to make this happen? Like, why isn't there Sonos's in the walls so that you got beautiful music playing? Why aren't there some trees and some shrubs outside? Why isn't there like a water feature like you said? I don't think that's that hard to do.
It's not that hard to do. It's really not that hard to do. So rich people, if you're listening,
pull your finger out.
Yeah. Fucking hell.
You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Before you go to send money overseas to some conflict, like think of domestic issues is what I'd say.
And children, babies, when they first enter the world, you know, you could be setting up for just a great society. There might be something in that if you enter the world peacefully, tranquil, the people around you are feeling calm, relaxed, happy. Yeah. It might set you on a path where you're not doing a fucking goth shovel fight at Tuesday night at Barrel Corbett Gardens. You know what I mean? Like, oh no, I need 18 stitches because a goth hit me with a shovel.
Yeah,
like, you know, maybe you get away from that sort of shit.
I completely agree. I think goths come into the world under traumatic circumstances.
Like goths, the main reason you get goths, I don't know if they exist anymore, but it's got to do with how they enter the world. Trust me. You don't just become a goth for no reason.
What, you think you go to school and become a goth? No. Your path is set in stone.
It starts in the first 24 hours of your life.
Yeah. Oh, I could track it back. You had a cunt of a first day, mate. Because what other explanation is there to make yourself look like an utter freak?
I don't know.
Do you know what I mean? Like, look like a complete freak.
Yeah, just a freak of society. Oh, I miss them though. You don't see too many goths around anymore.
Well, what's replaced the goth?
I don't know.
So what, with earlobe mutilation still a lot of... Is that sort
But
of
I feel
dying?
like there's still like people who get piercings and dye their hair and wear a bit of black, but they're not goths.
Yeah.
They're not goths.
Like a Marilyn Manson goth.
Yeah, like a proper guy who kind of just breathes. We had a couple.
They're all mouth breathers as well. No one uses their nose.
Yeah, no, like we had a couple in year 8, I think, in my class. They keep to themselves, you know.
Yeah, they do.
But goths are weird. Like, you'd see goths. You'd always see those guys, like, strutting across the zebra crossing with, like, fucking his giant boots and, like baggy-ish. Was it a kilt almost, half of him? Like a black kilt. Long scat hair that's dyed black.
Yeah, but also thinning.
Yeah.
You know, it was never in great nick.
Yeah.
Unless they were wearing a wig. Like, it always looked... It looked undernourished.
They were all quite undernourished, but like a goth.
You never saw, either you saw morbidly obese goths or runty goths. There was never any fit goths.
But I don't think there's any fit goths in the world. I don't even know what they did, except I think they just walked laps of the town. Like
they walked around.
You'd see plenty of goths in the town, but you go to the movies, there's no goths in there. You go to Planet Barrow, which is like Time Zone, there's no goths in there. Yeah. Go to Subway, there wasn't a goth. But like you'd walk out on the street that you could see one, and you go, what are you guys doing? Like maybe going to the CD store, like I don't know, like
tuning their guitars, maybe.
Maybe Sanity was their hotspot. Like I love Sanity, everyone loves Sanity, but maybe that's where goths...
Sanity was amazing.
Yeah.
But yet, I know what you mean, though. You'd almost see goths more in transit than ever, than at like a final destination.
Yeah, you don't see goths sitting in the corner of a pub enjoying a beer.
No,
you know?
no,
and
no,
you think you would if you've got that kind of like, fuck the world, just go have a beer or something. But they don't.
They'd often be playing, like they'd often have a stick in their hand, a goth. You know what I mean?
Something weird.
Oh, good old goths. Tobler, were you a mutilator of the earlobe? Were you a...
No, I wasn't. I think I
You didn't have
teetered on the goth
spaces?
phase.
I thought you did have spaces.
No,
Yeah,
I had fake ones.
Because there's goths, then there's emos, which again, the older generation thought emos and goths are the same person. Very different people. But then there's what Tobler was.
Can you explain the difference to the people?
Well, I guess a goth is what we've just explained, like you're gothic, right? Like malnourished, shit hair, angry at the world. Barely speak. You barely speak. You're almost a mute.
Mute in some cases.
Yeah, and you just walk around in black. You don't give off an aggressive vibe, but it's not you're not trying to start people or roll people or anything. You just stick to your own and just, I don't know, if got like they're loners, they're big loners. Emos, a little bit more kind of, tiny bit more upbeat, a little bit more emotional, a little bit let you know how they're feeling sort of vibe.
Yes.
You like they...
Oh, hard on their sleeve.
Yeah, exactly. You know, they take pride almost in their emo appearance as well, where goths just whack, a lick of black paint over their body, and that's basically it. But emos, they got maybe a bit of the stripy shirt. They got some earrings like that. They've gelled they've put a bit of effort into how they look.
Well, they're still invested in their appearance.
Yes, yeah.
Because they almost think they look good,
Yes.
whereas the Goths given up.
Yeah, and then the emos
Goths-
have their music, right? And
Yes.
so you can have people who like emo music. Even Blink-182 can be considered an emo band of sorts. But then there's a whole bunch.
They've got
like-
emo tendencies.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
sure.
Where it's like that kind of whiny,
Yeah. Why, mate?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's in between.
Teenage angst.
It's a bit angst, catcher in the rye sort of shit. I don't know if they do that in the syllabus anymore, but anyone who
Shout
was
out to
around
Catcher in the Rye.
2007 or something, you would get it. But then you got that whole in between where you get your Tobblers of the world. You get your Spaces.
Yeah.
You get your Boots. You get your band in the garage.
Yeah. Your political Jesus.
Political Jesuses.
Yep.
Where they're not goths, they're not emos, but they fall into a bit of a net over there. And they tend to, once they turn 21, get over it, or 19, whenever. It's just a teen angst thing, I guess. I was thinking about this literally yesterday. I was in Berry, and I'll talk about Berry in a second, but where I was staying, I was just watching the train go by. And I remember, because my dad doesn't drive, and we lived in Barrel, and he worked in Sydney, so I'm very well accustomed to the train as a kid.
You've done some trains.
And the number one thing that scared me as a kid was trainees, like teenage trainees. People who just jump on the train and want to cause fucking trouble.
Yes.
Like, that's all they want to do. And I haven't ridden the train enough, especially over the long distances now, going, is that shit God now that teenagers have so many more distractions? Even if you're from a slightly lower socioeconomic class, you still might have an iPhone or something where, like, back in the day, these trainees were just like, I'm fucking bored. I probably ain't a fan of staying at home. I'm just going to meet up with my mates, get on the train, cause some fucking trouble. And they just walk down, death stare people, push people, be a fucking nuisance, right?
Well, they're looking for eye contact. That's
Yeah.
what they're looking for. Because if eye contact's secured, it's on.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
Donkey Kong. Like, you got to avoid the gaze. That's rule number one. If you find yourself in a trainee situation, you have to avoid the gaze. And sometimes that's easier said than done, because they might come right up in your face. But if you avoid the gaze, generally speaking, you'll avoid trouble.
If you put your head down,
Yes.
like you and your dad just head down,
Yeah.
you're just like...
Almost like you're in prayer.
Yeah, exactly. They just... It's almost like, those like...
The townie bow.
Those movies where there's like monsters that if they... Like almost like in The Last of Us, like sound is their thing maybe or something.
Yeah,
like,
the ticking thing.
yeah, if in those things, those monsters can't kill you, like will sense you're there unless you make a sound. Same with trainees. If you just stay looking at the seat in front of you and don't contact the trainee will not even see you. Like
No.
you'll be invisible to the trainee.
100%. Like a T-Rex was attracted to movement.
Yeah.
The townie is to eyeballs. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you lock in with the trainee, you're fucked.
You better start praying, bruh.
And they always send through the youngest one first. It's like a tactic. It's like a cruel tactic. Like, send through the youngest one because you have this one where it's like you're like 10, but then you just see all his older trainee mates, and you're like, fuck.
Well,
like,
it's bait.
yeah, it's bait.
It's townie bait.
Yeah.
Because you're probably going to arc up against this little cunt who's annoying you.
Yeah.
Big mistake.
Yeah.
Big mistake.
Yeah, but now I'm hoping maybe like these people there's enough distractions in the world now, because back years ago, decades ago, we're talking, there wasn't enough distractions, and you'd create a trainee from nowhere.
Well, I mean, this is like the internet's starting to get into its work. You know what I mean? Like, at least wholesale.
Hey, but trainees back then, I dare say, might not have the desktop.
Not everyone had the dial-up. Not everyone had the modem. Not everyone had the desktop. They weren't ubiquitous. Is that the right word?
It sounds like it is.
Not everyone had them.
Yeah.
Like, you might have to go to the library to use that fucking thing.
Yeah, exactly. And there probably wasn't much on the internet anyway. That time.
There wasn't.
A couple of like porn sites which are just like photos, and then.
Well, that's exactly right.
And you're going to be playing Minesweeper or Hexagon? Shout out Hexagon, or whatever it was. I found that the other day randomly.
Minesweeper was a good game.
Minesweeper was fun. Like, once you figured out, and it was pretty simple to figure out, but once you figured out the actual rules.
Well, exactly right. There's one.
One means
it's touching one mine. Two means it's touching two. Four means it's touching four. And you can work it out from there.
Yeah.
Powers of deduction. And you could sweep for mine.
Kind of like a Sudoku in a way, where it's like you just got to like cross-reference numbers going, Sudoku, you going, okay, there's a 1 in that little thing there, so there can't be another 1 here, and there's a 2 in that row, and not the same thing, but similar part of the mind that you're using.
You used to be able to get massive ones. You'd be able to set your parameters, I think. You could have been like, well, I want to play like basically the whole screen, or I want to play like a little sliver.
Yeah, you could. Like a little like calculator size one.
A calculator size one, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, remember like computer games, like Age of Empires, I think was probably the bigger one, or Red Alert, and you have to put the CD in. Like Red Alert was a computer game. Like that's what you used computers
into the old
for.
IBM.
Yeah. And then, like, because I reckon we used them for years before the internet came around properly, right? Like,
yeah, because 100%. I always try and remember when I think I got the internet at home. I think it was like year 7. So what's that? 2003.
It was basically
something like that.
The only thing you really use the internet for, like, kind of school projects. But it was like there was still a time where instead of Wikipedia or whatever, you would load Encyclopedia Britannica into the
yes, bro.
And so you're actually just getting it off the CD rather than surfing the web for it,
mate. Like it would have been hilarious marking up school projects because it would have just been all the information in Encyclopedia Britannica, and it wasn't like there was shitloads of information on one topic.
No, exactly. Like I remember, I sold them a few years ago.
Like the pyramids probably got a page, so like everyone.
It was so easy to get to absolutely nail certain projects if you put a bit. So you're talking, the pyramids get a page. Everyone's got the same thing. My parents had a subscription to the National Geographic, and I figured out this is the days of overhead projectors.
Yeah.
And so National Geographic's had like an Egypt like special like top quality fucking photos, right? Top quality like Tutankhamun's, all that sort of shit. Figured out a way in town to turn photos from the Nat Geographic onto an overhead slide. So you don't even have to say anything, but because of the technology, like effort you've put in, you're like, and here's Tutankhamun. And like, whoa, like that's all the project is, because cunts haven't seen that before.
No,
like,
no.
because they didn't get the Nat, not everyone had the Nat Geo, and people are like, whoa, and you're like, yeah, this is my project.
Mate, back then when information was sort of scarce, I suppose you could say, and everyone was pulling from the same sources, you had to wow the people.
Yeah.
So you were wowing with overhead projectors. How I'd wow, me and my mum, she was architect behind this sort of this approach. It was basically to print everything off. Comic Sans was the font of choice first and foremost, with word art at the top. You know that blue one.
The blue one, Impact, I think it's called.
Yeah, obviously. So you're headering up, right? You got to get your headers right, and you got to get your font right. Then what we'd do is we'd cut around the text and put it onto coloured paper.
Okay.
Then you put the coloured paper into one of those like see-through booklets where you slip it in.
Yeah.
Bob's your uncle. Looks impeccable because you're bouncing white off colour.
Yeah.
Now it looks like I'm a fucking genius, but all I've done is just like copied and pasted from Encyclopedia Britannica.
That's so good.
That's how you do it.
That's so good.
And you get 40 out of 40. Thanks for coming. Little bit of effort. You just got to, because
that's in hindsight, people go, when are you going to use school information? But what you realise when you get older, school is about just rewarding effort and teaching people to invent ways. It doesn't matter about the actual information.
No.
It's not actually about that. It's like, when am I going to use information on the pyramids in real life? School's dumb. Where's the next Rogan podcast coming out? Like, it's actually rewarding effort and kind of, getting you to think outside the box, and that's what get you the marks, Like,
it's 100% rewarding effort. The fucking HSC is a memory test.
Yeah.
At least it was when we were at school.
Yeah.
Memorize this and you win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's funny when you look back at school. Like, there's a lot of stress back then, but you don't realize exactly what's going on and what you need to. I don't know, like because
you don't have any context for the rest of the world.
Exactly.
So you are like literally building to what you think is like the most important shit of all time.
Yeah, and then that's why everyone has those recurring dreams of like, an exam or a test or something, and they haven't studied, or there's that I get it very occasionally where it's like you're in year 12 or something, and you're freaking out about something, and you fuck something up, because for most people, like, that is like almost a peak point of like, fuck, this is going to set me up for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Like
if I fuck this, my life's done. Some people have that approach.
I know,
legitimately.
but like, and that's, it kind of gets drilled into you, and it's like, it's kind of not the case unless you're a doctor and you need to get, 90.
But there are other ways.
There are
around
other, you can just
It just
spend an
takes a
extra
bit
year.
longer.
Yeah. Like basically,
We're not talking crazy amounts of time here. Either,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
it's like, oh no, I have to do a gap year. My parents are going to kill me. Not a big deal.
Not that important. Not that important. You're getting breakdowns. People are fucking losing it, crying, tears, stress, shaking like a leaf. Like so competitive. People wouldn't share notes and shit. It's like, who gives a fuck?
I was one of those idiots because I just like, I am meant to wear glasses when I read, but I have like a,
So am I, but I don't.
yeah, I don't. And I've got like a, kind of like a, like ADD brain in a way. So like sometimes or a lot of the time. And I knew back to fucking front my Brave New World and Blade Runner text, right? Like, because I actually enjoyed the book and I loved the movie. I knew it.
Blade Runner's a fucking great movie.
Yeah, I fucking knew. And that's what we did in year
Brave
12.
New World was good too.
It was real good. It was like, because that was the first one of those kind of like genres I'd ever been exposed to, because I read 1984 later, I think. And
Is Brave New World all?
Huh?
Who wrote that?
his name, Aldous Huxley?
Huxley, yeah, that's it.
That was the first like dystopia kind of thing, and I thought it was sick. And then in the test, I was like, I'm gonna fucking nail this. Yeah. And then the first like line wasn't the question, it was a statement. And then like a couple down things later was the question. And I go on and I'm going through one fucking booklet. Yeah, hand up, need another booklet, thanks. Like, I'm fucked in the Macbeth shit, so I need to nail this thing. Yeah. Finish the thing, 2 booklets, done.
Panty booklets.
Yeah, done before the time's up. You're like, sweet. And then you just gone like, and then everyone finishes, and then the guy in front of me turns around and is like, oh, like, asked something about the question. I was like, that wasn't the question. He's like, yeah, it was. And I opened the book, like, oh, fuck. So on the last page, I just wrote in giant heading, I have clearly misread the question, but you can clearly understand I know the text.
Is that what you wrote? Oh my God, like a Hail Mary.
Yeah. And I still got like a band 5, I think. So maybe I got some marks for it. I don't know. I got fucked in the HSC. I remember economics. I was like, economics, you have to write 2 essays, and there's like 18 subjects that it can be. Basically, you know the question on the subject. And I'm like, so, and you get an option. The essays, you get this A or B, A or B.
You could pick shit.
And I just said, I'm fucking sweet unless one of them is the options like this one and this one.
Yeah. And like, otherwise you're fine.
Otherwise, I'm fine. And they were the 2 options in one. Oh, you fucking dickhead. How am I going to come up with like 15 pages on China's a growing economy? And I was
You just start bullshitting. You go, listen, here's your question, but here's one I prepared earlier. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try and rework the question into my own, which fits my narrative. So you spend like a couple of paragraphs changing it, basically.
Yeah, just slowly morph it into your thing that you want to do. Yeah.
Punters and Dribblers, we are brought to you by 4 Pines Japanese Lager, and some exciting news. We are doing one of the great race days of all time, 19th of April, at Royal Randwick, members area, trackside. Hello Sport times 4 Pines for a Dribblers Day out.
Picture this. Your mates Tom and Eddie in our bogan fineries. Yeah, the dress code is bogan suits.
Yep. General admission.
General admission. You know the drill. On a beautiful autumnal day, trackside, members reserve, whipping home ponies with like-minded individuals. That's punters and dribblers sucking on 4 Pines all day for free. Well, during the start and end time.
Ticket prices include booze and food all day. Obviously, 4 Pines will be there and available. But there's champers, there's wines, there's whatever you really want, you know?
There's also a punters and dribblers fedora.
Yep.
For everyone in attendance.
This is a great way to
fucking unmissable.
Great way to spend a Saturday. Link in the show notes, link in bio. What are you doing? Let's get the crew together, get the guys, get the gals, and let's have a ripping Saturday whipping home pones.
How were you at creative writing?
I was pretty good. at that. I can't remember what we... what we had to do, because I didn't do advanced. I think we did the journey in year 12. And I was in like the kind of not dumb English class, but not the smart English class. So I think there was like the standard English guys. And then there was the kind of guys who were like 2 units. But they kind of pushed a lot of people into the advanced version of that. I was in the middle. So we did the journey. The smart people did the imaginary journey. And so the kind of lesser English people did the physical journey, because it's a lot easier for them to understand that going from point A to point B might change you as a person, such as Frodo. And, you know, that we're too dumb to understand that, you know, you can, there's higher change. So I think I like inspired a lot of my, I think it was before the movie come out, but the guy 127 hours. You know,
cut his arm off.
Cut his arm off.
It was played by James Franco, who's been cancelled.
Yeah. So I wrote about his story. The creative side, I actually think I was like, fuck this. I'm actually smart enough to come up with like an imaginative one in the test. And I wrote a big story about like a guy it's pretty dark now that I actually think about it. In a prison cell who like, as he looks out the window, certain things like would teleport his mind to like really nice places, like the rain coming down would like take him to, you know, like a waterfall and stuff, and then it eventually like gets into him like releasing and then like committing suicide.
Oh
like,
my God.
And kind of, but like in a peaceful way, like I guess because his like mind's like out of it.
Mind's at peace.
I can't remember exactly the ins and outs. It was goddamn, but I remember this is the first time I've spoken about it in 20 years, so I guess I kind of remember a bit about it.
That's impressive. I remember mine. Mine was fucking toilet.
The guy went from A to B.
Yeah, mine was like, I think I tried to do some like crime story thing, and I tried to, you know, set up all these big words at the start, and just as I'm writing it, I'm running out of puff with this thing. It's just getting stupider and dumber and shitter, and then I'm just having to wrap it up. I'm like, I was so displeased with what I produced.
Isn't that funny in school, like even at uni and stuff, when you think you've done like a pretty good job at something like creative, and then someone like gets up and reads their story.
Yeah, you're like, oh my
I'm such an idiot.
Oh my God.
What is that?
Mate, I had PTSD from my creative writing in year 12. So like when we had to do it at uni, I just used Streets one, which is about having sex on pingers. How streety is that?
That's so good.
I'm surprised you didn't do like a sword and sandals type story, mate.
Well, I was doing ancient history. There was only like 6 of us doing ancient history. Miss Gerasitano, shout out. And I loved ancient history. I fucking dominated ancient history, dude. Like, I actually think.
What did you study in ancient history?
So for year 12, I'm pretty sure it was definitely the Roman Empire, but like specifically like Octavian, Augustus, which was like Caesar's godfather in a way. Like it wasn't his actual dad, but he kind of taught Julius Caesar everything. Caesar taught him everything he knows. And then you did Pompeii and Herculaneum, old volcano. And then you did Thera, which is like a place in Greece, which is technically the first like Western civilization. Tom might argue with that because he, you know.
Because of Gillespie.
He's probably over Gillespie or whatever. The arguments some people have never read one single history book in their life, but they're like, no, this is the first. Like, yeah. But it was fun. You didn't get to do too much battle shit though. I'm trying to think if we did like, because I love battle numbers, dude. I love like, tell me the numbers.
Well, I did modern history, and I'm a battle guy as well.
Yeah.
Like I fucking live for that shit, and it was all about how to interpret a source as being accurate or not.
That was
lame.
That was the annoying thing. I guess we did like the 300 battle because Herodotus was the first ever historian, a Greek guy, but it was still like you got to understand that he's like the first ever technically, but there's a lot of exaggeration going on. And so you kind of, you attack it with like not this is exactly, it's not a memory test like the other ones where it's like, how many people were in the battle of whatever. It's like you kind of have to Ancient history, it's all about, making your interpretations up off all the different sources, modern and ancient, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's still good because you got to learn shit, dude. Like, I got that imagination when you just think back, and it wasn't that fucking long ago. If you think about someone who lives to like 100 now.
Just say 100.
100 times their lifetime by 20, and we're talking like ancient Roman shit. It's only 20 of those people's lifetime.
It's like, that's, when you say it like that, it's a fucking trip.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's 20
right?
David Attenboroughs. That's not many.
20 David Attenboroughs, you got Jesus on the cross. Like, throw in just, another
50 and like, where are you at? You know what I mean?
You're pre-fucking Troy, like Troy's 800 BC. So, you're 28 and you're 28 Attenboroughs and you're at Achilles killing Hector, like on the beaches of Troy. Like...
28 Davids. That's not much.
It's really not that much.
That's not that much at all to go all the way back there.
Yeah. Because only one of them, we've just passed World War One. So World War One's done. But
World War One's done as of 2018.
Yeah.
So, you got the stock market crash coming up in 29, is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
The 20s were like fun, I think. They were the what do they call them? The
Roaring 20s.
Roaring 20s.
Yeah. Bit of fun vibe. But like, I don't know, what, 5 David Attenboroughs ago, you're getting public executions like at medieval times, like people walk around in knight armour and shit, smoky castles, everyone's got the plague. That's only 5 Attenboroughs ago?
Mate, yeah, I know, yeah. The doctors are walking around in those weird crow masks and shit.
Like,
have you been watching have you been seeing those TikToks that AI does where you wake up, you're like, oh, you're a prisoner on your way to Australia in the 1700s and shit.
No.
It's fun. It's fun because
and it's like you have to,
as in like, so it's sort of it's a POV.
Yeah.
You know about that.
Oh, I got yeah.
And it's showing what life would be like for this person. It's interesting.
I remember because we once did, shout out Old Sydney Town. It doesn't exist anymore, does it?
Shout out to Old Sydney Town, which was next to
Was it the Rocks?
No. Old Sydney Town was on the way up to the Central Coast.
Oh no, so there was one in the like outside of Sydney, but
yeah, that was Old Sydney Town. It was on the outside of Sydney. It was next to like the reptile.
But there was one in Sydney. At least a barracks was in Sydney because we came
down in the rocks.
Yeah, down in the rocks. So obviously everyone went to Old Sydney Town where there's like everyone dressed as, and some guys getting cat o' nine tails. It's like, no, please don't. And they've just got like this like fake blood on the cat o' nine tails and like whipping him.
Yeah.
And I'd go in. I remember like you'd sit down as a left-handed. And the teacher would like scream at you, like the fake teacher, because you're like a lefty and you weren't allowed to be a lefty till whenever you were.
Not that long ago.
There was a few lefties. I won't name this one guy. It's the same guy in both stories. He was a lefty and like he couldn't handle this stuff. I don't think he could separate reality from just an excursion. Yeah. So like when we went to the Old Sydney Town. We got split into random groups. Groups of like 1, groups of 2, groups of 3, and we got given a story. And we're all English convicts, and we're in the courtroom. And so we're like in these like cages almost because we're convicts, and we had to, I guess, represent ourselves to the judge, and we'd all get sentences almost. So like 7 years in the colony, like on how well you represent your case. Like 14 years in the colony. This one guy who considers himself to this day a scholar, an intellect. And he unfortunately...
that's like his thing?
That's his thing, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And so that's been his thing since 8 years old to now, I think. I don't know him well now, but he pops up occasionally. And he represented himself so badly... The judge goes, I sentence you to death. And he's in this cage and he just starts bawling. And it was just everyone's laughing. And he thinks he's going to get, it's not real.
When he's crying,
yes,
shaking the cage.
Like, it's not real, man.
Oh my God.
It's so funny.
In the rocks.
In the rocks in Sydney. We had to sleep in like shitty hammocks, like Pirates of the Caribbean hammocks.
Yeah.
You represent ourselves in court. I mean, it was kind of fun.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Chubby, can you get photos of Old Sydney Town? I just want to go back there for a moment.
Yeah.
Just to
When
soak
did
it
that
all in.
shut down? A while ago?
2003.
Yeah, I was going to say 20 years ago. How long was 2003? How long was it open for?
It opened from 1975.
Oh, so it was like a thing.
Yeah, so
It's
about
out of the
28
there's a
years.
reptile park that was next door.
Yeah,
It's
so
still
the
there.
Summersby.
reptile park. Yeah, that's exactly. I always thought that in that fear that everyone had ages ago that like, China's going to overtake Australia, all that sort of stuff. I was like, I reckon I can always get a job in old Sydney town. Like, no matter what. The culture's going to change so much and blah. Doesn't matter. I was going to get a job in old Sydney town. It's always my backup.
Yeah.
No matter where society and culture goes, I'll just go get a job. It's fun as fuck.
That's your backup plan.
That's my backup plan. Mix it up every few years. One day you're a soldier, next day you're a prisoner, like a judge, a farmer. Just rocking up. It's like Westworld and shit, dude.
It's like Westworld. That's the Australian version of Westworld. It was old Sydney town. Which wasn't very big. Is that how big it was? I remember it being bigger than that.
I remember
Old
being
Sydney town
massive. I thought I was like in another country or something. There's the cat of nine tails up there.
There it is. I was down by the water. That's right. I remember that part.
There we go.
There, old mate getting whipped. Don't whip me. They had the old cannons and shit. Everyone's dressed up, mate. It would have been. You reckon they were, mate? You reckon they were making reasonable coin?
I reckon enough. They'd all be actors looking for work or something, and
So it was sold for over 15 million. What's happened to it? Is it still there, but it's just like fallen into the disuse, Tobler?
Just having a look.
Fuck, you got me thinking about old Sydney town.
I think
now.
it's still standing.
surely someone can reopen this.
I think it's time.
It's time. We need a bit of. I guess it's not politically correct to be, but you're not celebrating.
You're just showing what it was.
Colin, I don't know, but I don't know what.
There's a push from the community to reopen it.
Well, there you go.
A couple of years ago, so it's still standing on the site, and the owners still own it.
So it's still there.
It's still there.
But just why did it shut down? Because no one was coming.
I'm not 100% sure.
It's
Like what was the amusement park in Sydney?
Wonderland. Yeah, that was fun with the Red Demon. The Red Demon was the like crazy roller coaster. Then you also had the like. Why'd that shut down though? Where was that? Like, it's so weird as a kid, especially when you didn't live in Sydney as a kid, where you got no idea where you actually were.
No idea.
You're just like, oh, I'm going to Wonderland.
It must have been in the West. Is it where Wet and Wild is now? Does people even go to Wet and Wild now? I feel like I've lost touch with all these.
But like, Wet n Wild's kind of new, isn't it? Like 10 years old, maybe?
10 years old, wouldn't it?
But I guess like out west when it's fucking hot, and if Wet n Wild's only 30 minutes
Mate, I don't
away,
think it's open in winter.
Yeah.
So as if you're going out there. In
Yeah,
the
no, you wouldn't be
stinking
going.
hot to line up.
So there was a fire in 2014 at Old Sydney Town where a lot of the artefacts and documentation were lost. And then in 2018, it was sold to the World Cultural Tourism Village. So they're still talking about plans of like refurbishing it
get it
eventually.
open
If it
again.
was bought by the cultural village, then they should open that fucking thing.
Open
Yeah.
it up. It's bloody, it's shut down the bloody little places on the highway that have like a dolphin in a fish tank that you can go see, like you get those scat aquariums and things. You're just like, get old Sydney town pumping.
Everyone that went there talks about it.
Exactly. We're remembering it from 30 years ago, probably. Like,
I went in 2001 to Old Sydney Town.
it's a great spot to take the kids as well.
Great spot to go.
Because-
we went on an excursion there. Terrific.
Same. I think I've been spending a bit of time in, I went to the Barrel a couple of weeks ago for a wedding. Went down to Berry yesterday or the day before.
Good part of the world.
Great part of the world. And I remember like one of the positives of growing up, not in Sydney, even though my parents sold a house in Paddington in 1992 for nothing, and now it's worth a lot. Big mistake. But the trade-off is the imagination. When you're living in a town, you don't have to be on acres and acres, but like walking from your mate's place to the next place, you don't do that too much in Sydney. There's traffic, all that shit everywhere, gardens everywhere, all sorts of different shit going on. It opens up your imagination in a way I think that the terrace house sort of child won't be exposed to.
Yes.
The imagination won't be open because you're just living in this urban landscape. places like Old Sydney Town, it gets their imagination firing.
100%.
You take them to Old Sydney Town and their imagination's clocking off at all this shit going off. Like, we need to open it for the kids. If we're talking about the kids earlier, we're talking about them
Well, the
now.
reason Gen Z's fucked, and I've always said it, is they didn't have any exposure to Old Sydney Town.
Yep. No, and they look at it on the internet and they think
They were formative years. Formative years. Old Sydney Town. But you know what it did as well? It gave you context. Your life's not that bad, bruh.
Yeah, look at the cat nine tails, dude. Like, look at me, I'm a lefty and I'm getting nearly caned. Like, you're that close to getting caned if you're a lefty at Old Sydney Town. You get lined up.
Yeah.
He's got it in his hand, but he doesn't follow through with it.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, life's not that bad. And you're like, oh, my teacher, even though he's a fucking psycho, he's not that bad.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine being that role as a teacher where it's like your job is when the kids come through is to just scream at them. And threaten them with a cane. Like,
well, a failed thespian, I would have thought.
yeah, failed thespian, but he'd be really into the role, I guess. I mean, I'd love to know. You're never going to find
Not
this.
failed in his own eyes,
No.
but failed.
Maybe if he wanted to be on the stage or on screen.
Well, I think they all dream it for the, you know.
But
to be fucking Annie, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're a realistic Australian thespian,
Then then that's quite a role.
yeah, that's quite a role because realistically, unless you're like on a Neighbours or something like that, even if you're making it big in Australian context, you probably need a supplementary job because we just don't have the market and demand for just
100%. And you can go too long without work.
Exactly. So if you can get your way into Old Sydney Town and be the best fucking cat of nine tails whipper or whippy,
Yeah.
that's a role and a half. I mean, you're imprinting memories on children that they remember for 30 years. We want to go back now. We want to remember what it's like. I want to get an idea. I want to learn again because I've forgotten half the shit.
Is there a what's it called? Where people get signatures to try and get something opened again.
A petition, a change.org.
Is there a petition or change.org to get it going, Tobler?
Let me have a look.
That we can share a link to
Yeah,
get Old
there's
Sydney
a
Town
couple.
back?
Save Old Sydney Town, bring back Old Sydney Town.
I mean, and
Started in 2012. It had 893 supporters and
That's
has
not
since
enough.
closed.
That's not enough.
But like-
2012,
I don't know if it was Old Sydney Town, but I've definitely seen some fake cannons fire before. Maybe it was down at what's that little fort in the middle of the
Fort Denison.
Fort Denison. Yeah. Maybe it was there. I think it was Fort Denison. You go down, have a little lunch, and they do like a fake cannon thing or something.
When were you going down to Fort Denison for lunch?
I don't know. I think my family and sister were like obsessed with it at one point. Like for like. You know,
it's pretty cool, Fort Denison.
And it's not
just like a jagged rocks that they turned into a jail, essentially.
Yeah. Well, it was a fort to stop.
It was a fort, then it was a jail.
I don't think they didn't build the fort in time. So I think they started building it when like cannons were relevant almost, and then finished it where it's like that's not going to do a thing.
Yeah.
Like,
too late.
Too late. You've built a slab of rock with enough 8 cannons. There's a freaking like
Also, but like
Japanese warship will take it.
Yeah, you're gonna have to start getting them from their heads. You know what I mean? Fort Denison's not up to it.
Fort Denison will be destroyed with not even a main missile.
That's
from a warship.
well, that seems like the Australian way, at least modern Australia, is let's just take ages to build shit.
Yeah.
And so when it finally comes online, it's completely irrelevant.
Yeah.
A little bit like the NBN.
Yeah, exactly like the M. And it's just the Australian way as well. Like I love that we are so meaningless in like a global scale. Where if
meaningless.
If you talk about like China, like we had enemies, so we built this Great Wall of China,
Which is massive, by the way.
like
to keep out the
ridiculous.
Mongols, I believe.
Yeah, any society or like empire, whatever it was, it's like, look at the castles over there, look at this over there, look at what we've got Fort Denison. It's just like the size of this studio with a couple of cannons on it.
Probably not.
That's a great defense.
It's probably not even this big. That big.
It's not even this big.
Yeah, Fort Denison is our Great Wall of China. Oh, Fort Denison.
Denison.
Yes. There it is in all its grandeur. Oh, that's a powerful symbol.
That is our defence. That's our contribution to the defending our nation in World War II.
Yeah. Look how big it is. Oh, that dicky little tower at the front.
Oh, yeah. It's not doing like you get like watchtowers over in Europe, like even in Spain and shit, like in the random parts of Spain, and like there's like watchtowers that are 20 times the size of Fort Denison.
Well, what was that famous lighthouse that they built? I think that's one of the 8 wonders of the ancient world.
Who?
Can you look at that up? Mm-hmm. It was like the light tower.
The Lighthouse of Alexandria?
Lighthouse of Alexandria. How big was that?
Estimated to have been at least 100 metres in height.
Right. And it was estimated to be built when?
280 BC.
Right, okay. Yeah. So 4,200 years ago, they were knocking up the 100-metre high thing and little Fort Denison in what, 1980?
Yeah.
In 1885 or something.
The Australian way. Yeah. We get around each other and we work. And we all chip in hard times. And we built our fort.
To defend.
You can take that thing down with the PP7 and a jet ski. Just
just a bogan fucking a bogan sled and a good bit of rope, and you can rip that thing out easily, mate.
The unveiling ceremony would just be down at like Circular Quay or something on the Harbour Bridge, a ribbon cutting thing. Yeah. Australians, this is tumultuous times. We understand. It is scary. The Japanese are nearby, but we have a defence. Cut the ribbon, the curtains open. It's just Fort Denison.
Fort Denison. Yeah, they're trying to get the Queen out for it. Like, Jesus Christ. Who opened Fort Denison?
Did it sink? Is that just the top of it? Like,
yeah. Has that gone under that thing or what? Shout out to Fort Denison. It's so shit that it's absolutely forgotten.
You get people like Dubai was built in like 10 years, wasn't it? Like the whole city, like all those.
Mate, you go back to photos of the 80s, there's nothing there.
And this is what we came up with in World War II, when we actually thought there was a chance it would be attacked.
When was it built? When was Fort Denison built?
It's 1857.
Okay, so it's a bit older.
And then, not like
keep the pirates out.
Keep the pirates out. Again, like you've got 2 headlands where you can build something of substance. There's also there's islands there that might be a bit more.
And we're talking in the Babylon times they're building stuff like even. Oh, one thing I saw, like, back to Thera and talking about ancient history, they consider that to be Atlantis because it was on Santorini, right? And Santorini goes under. But the tidal wave that knocked out something, look it up, Tobler. They built this, in Game of Thrones where there's that giant statue above the harbour?
Yes.
There was one of the cities in Greece had one of those things.
Had that. Yeah. And they did, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I saw that the other day.
That was coming into the port of Alexandria, I'm sure.
Yeah, maybe.
The Colossus of Rhodes?
Colossus of Rhodes. And
That's
you're like,
it.
dude, like, come on. Like, that shit was happening so... Can we just have something cool like that?
Can we start... Let's start carving big fucking marble statues again.
Yeah, like, that's cool. Like, and the gross kind of goldish statues that we seem to create for people just look scat.
No,
right?
they're scat.
They're scat. Like, can we just... We don't... Even if we just need a giant standard World War I digger marble statue, like on maybe one each on headlands, like I'm talking 30 metres.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
At the head, coming into the heads, just 2 huge diggers.
Yeah. Like they figured out how to do it fucking 3,000 years ago. Can we just get 2 diggers?
2 diggers.
Maybe 1 digger and a cattle dog as well. I don't know. Like we can mix it up, but diggers would be like 2 different diggers the size of the Colossus of Rhodes on each headland.
Well, instead of, look at that. Look at that. What was it made of? Bronze or something?
Not 100% sure. It was 33 metres tall.
33 metres.
And it was finished in like 230 BC.
Like, it's just, they built the Anzac Bridge and there's 2, like there's a New Zealand Kiwi digger and an Aussie digger. I feel like we should have gone a little more Colossus of Rhodes with this thing and had them bridging the harbour. Bridging the heads, rather.
Imagine if there's a Kiwi digger, Australian digger, and they're kind of doing like the touching. And that's the entry to our harbour. Like, we automatically become the greatest. We already are the greatest harbour city on earth.
But it's signed, sealed, delivered.
Yeah.
It can never be bested.
It's cemented.
Yeah. Like, that's a powerful entry. You're going, oh, this place doesn't fuck around, bro.
Yeah.
And they pay homage in the right way.
Yep. 100%. Like, we just...
Like, Anzac Bridge, great. Not a bad bridge.
It's not about, like...
It's too deep in. You need to set the tone as soon as you come in.
We just need to get, like, a tiny bit... I feel in these ancient worlds when they came up with all this shit that, like, there was, like, a select few artists who were, like, rock stars and they were paid accordingly. Like, the guy who obviously comes up with this.
Yep.
And so the artist and the kind of structural guy...
I made that.
Yeah, they work together, right? We just need to go, okay, like, let's maybe do a... have you seen that movie, The Imitation Game, where it's...
Benedict Cumberbatch?
Yes.
Turing, and they want someone
about
the code.
Enigma.
And they put out in the newspaper, like, a really hard... riddle,
yes.
And then
crossword or
that's
riddle.
That's how
something.
they kind of filter down. Let's get this. We need to figure out how to kind of capture that same thing, but for like people who can dream big, artists, kind of people who can come up with this and just go, okay, we've just come up with a great idea, but is there something we're not thinking of? Like, is there a project we can funnel, a few $100 million into that is going to give the appeal of a Colossus of Rhodes or something, just for our city? So when everyone in Sydney, because so many people will be able to see that you'll be able to see that from Balmain.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's about time, Sebbo, as well. Harbour Bridge, the 30s? When was the Opera House? 60s, 70s? Yep. Again, I'm guessing it's time for something else.
It's time for a new one.
Opera House was 59.
59? Like, we've been waiting a long time.
We don't want it to get, like, the max time you can have is in Edinburgh, I guess. And
that's the max.
And so we're already kind of like 70% of the way there,
exactly.
80% of the way there.
David's getting old in the analogy we've been using.
Punters and dribblers, if you like myself and Edward Simpson, you were given a gift from the gods on the weekend, and that was a race on the Sunshine Coast where Birmingham was running.
That's a gift from the punting gods given out by a punter / dribbler.
$9.75. You hear about that, you get on with Neds, and you whip home a grey.
That's all you need to do. So if you want to get a red hot tip, if you want to whip home a grey, do it with Neds, the best in the fucking business.
That's right. Follow on our profiles, join the About Even group, get amongst it if you're that way inclined. What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.
Punters and dribblers, a reminder that Be Good Health's new product, Daylights. Yeah, daily electrolytes. Are you following? 8 out of 10 Australians dehydrated. Are you following? Do you like Murray River salt? Yes or no? You'd better fucking say yes. Don't be like, I'm a Celtic man. Support your own country, mates. Support your own country. The Murray River Basin, it's over-salinated. We've got to rip salt out. We're ripping it out. We're doing our bit. The only naturally occurring pink salt, I'm going to say in the world, it might just be Australia, but I'm going to say the world, Murray River salt, shout out to it. It's in there, 835 milligrams of it. Perfect amount. Sodium you need for hydration. Yeah, it's counterintuitive. You were fucking weird on, water everywhere, not a drop to drink. That's because the ocean's way too it's way too salinated. This is the perfect amount of salination. You need salt to retain water. Read a fucking book. Daylights, daily electrolytes. It's out this Saturday. Basically, you're all going to be depressed because daylight savings ends this Saturday, right? So on Sunday, Daylights drops just as a little, thank God there's something. If you're a subscriber, you have early access 24 hours earlier on the Saturday. Shout out to our subscribers, begoodhealth.com.au. Subscribers, you will have received an email with how to access the product on Saturday.
Also, if you're not going to Magic Round and you like golf trips, and you love Berry and you love boutique motels and historic pubs and splitting the G and Guinnesses and oysters and rosé and 3 courses with rotating teams and formats, shit like that I'm hosting, just stay tuned. Just stay tuned. No announcement yet, but it's just if you are looking for something to do on the Friday to Sunday Magic Round, just stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Keep your eyes peeled on the socials because there's news dropping. Know that. Are you pumped for the Odyssey?
Oh,
Christopher Nolan?
Yeah, Chrissy Noel's my favourite director, as most of you probably know.
Will there be battles and shit in this?
I don't know. I don't think so. Like, I think so. The Odyssey, fucking hard books to read because they're essentially like 800-page poems. So you'd probably know of Achilles, which is the movie Troy's about. That's the Iliad. That's the first one. So these are considered to be the first ever books written. And they weren't written till 400 years after the author's death. They were shared by the campsite, retelling the story. So people would memorize these 500-page poems and then go tell the other person these 500-page
That's how it was done.
For 400 years.
Are you serious?
400 years. And then they finally wrote it down. And then even when they wrote it down, it's the first books, right? And so the first one's the Iliad. It's about going to Troy.
And Homer wrote them?
He spoke them. Because no one really thought to write them down in those days because everyone was just, you could memorize and stuff because you didn't have distractions, you know? You didn't have fucking...
He spoke them?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
He spoke them. And
so Homer was a gangster?
Yeah. Serious gangster. And I guess that's what the human mind can do when you're not got, you know...
when we're not tied down.
Not tied down. You're not getting distracted with, you know, skin TikToks, you know? Like, you can...
Wait, we're guilty of it. We're all guilty of it.
We're all like that. We're all like that. That's just the way it is. But if we weren't like that, we could memorize a fucking 800-word poem, let alone have struggle reading one. You're like...
Yeah.
And Achilles said to... Oh, give me a scroll. Every second word, you need to stop. And I'm do that as well. But Achilles, that was the Iliad. And then it ends there. Odysseus is the guy that comes up with the Trojan horse.
Yes.
So Achilles is like the
smart guy.
Yeah, Odysseus is the warrior.
Who was played by the Aussie. Isn't that...
No, Sean Bean in the movie.
Sean
Bean plays him. Pretty much
Bean.
Australian. And then so Odysseus is the king of Ithaca, and he comes up with that, and he never really wanted to be there. He's the smart guy. And then the Odyssey, which you definitely heard of, but that is about his journey home, where that one's just, he goes all over the shop because the gods are cursing him, and there's all these sort of magical shit going on. Not any battles per se, more like out thinking the room in small little situations. I have no idea.
Because he was smart, that guy.
He was smart. He would always like find a way out of these situations because he was smart. I have no fucking idea how that's going to translate on screen to a modern audience when it's like, you know, he runs into cyclopses, which are like giants, like one eye and stuff like that. And
so that's what it's like.
That's what it's like.
Yeah.
Like
fantastic or whatever.
Yeah, like that's probably as fantasy as it gets. There might be like a giant sea beast at one point, like, you know, like a kraken of sorts.
Krakens and cyclops.
Yeah. Like, so I don't know how.
Cyclopses are like, it's like an octopus with one eye. Is that a cyclops? What's a cyclops?
In our world, in that world, it's a giant with one eye, but I've heard of cyclops.
Yeah, giant one with one eye in Greek mythology.
A giant with one eye.
Yeah, because I don't think you can. I don't think you can modernize it to go. Oh, maybe when they wrote giant with one eye, they actually meant this. Like, I don't think there's a way.
You got to take it
because
word.
Oh Brother, We're Out There. That's a great movie, Coen Brothers. That is a modern adaptation of the Odyssey with George Clooney, but it's not even near it. It's, you know. I think this is meant to be a bit more closer to the text. So I don't know. I'm excited as fuck. Get excited as well because Chrissy Nolan, Odyssey, it's like my two favorite things.
Let's go see that together when it comes out.
Let's do it.
Right.
Yeah, do it right. Get the biggest screen possible.
Biggest.
Yeah. And just go, what's this guy doing? Because I feel Chrissy Nolan almost enjoys just hopping from genre to genre for a challenge almost.
He gets off on it, mate. He's all over the map.
Like, he always has a similar theme that time's fucking weird in everything he does.
Yep.
But it's like, it goes from, like, you know, you've got Batman, which is a comic book, a superhero movie. And then you've got, you know, The Prestige, which is like, I guess, like a thriller, like a psychological,
it's like yeah,
and then sci-fi with like Interstellar.
It's like a thriller. It's a sick movie.
Yeah,
The Prestige.
Yeah,
it's amazing. But
Memento was a thriller.
But it's got a big twist as well.
They all have pretty big, sort of twists.
Some bigger than others.
Yeah.
Then he's doing time with Inception. Then he's doing time with Interstellar.
You call that like sci-fi in a way though as well, even though you say sci-fi and it makes it kind of sound not legit, but it is like a science fiction thing in a way.
But he got one of the great scientific minds to help him come up with the story.
Yes.
So it's got strong scientific theories it's backing.
Yeah.
It's not just making it up, happening.
But it's just like he just does
Kip
these
Thornton, I think
huge,
Kip Thorne, yeah.
huge leaps across what he's doing. Where Scorsese, you're like, okay, it's going to be a good movie, but it's either DiCaprio or De Niro, like smoking a cigarette and being a
It's
gangster.
gangster shit.
Yeah, and it's like they're all good, but it's all like, you know,
they're all a lot of them are quite similar.
quite similar. Tarantino, even though they're all very different, they're all quite similar in the way they're presented, I guess. I don't know. So Chrissy Nolan, I've got no idea what the fuck he's going to do, but like, I can't wait. I told Dad about it, and Dad doesn't know Christopher Nolan or anything, but he's like, him just hearing the Odyssey is going to be like on screen. He's like, you must send me the thing. And it's like, it's not out yet, Dad. It's not out yet.
Patience. Send it to me.
Because I remember
Send me a copy.
I went into Interstellar without even watching the trailer or anything. And
Same.
Yeah. And I had no idea what I was going to watch. And like sometimes I like to do that. I don't even, the new Leo movie that's out, that's all across my feed, I just skip past it because I'm like, I'm just going to go see the movie.
My brother does the same thing. He goes, you watch these trailers and they give away the whole fucking movie.
thing.
Because
I remember the trailer.
If you watch a trailer, a trailer goes from basically start to finish and cuts out chunks.
Yeah.
But they'll give you the whole movie.
They'll give you the whole movie. They'll just, maybe the last 10 minutes they don't give you. But going to Interstellar without even seeing it, I was just like, what's going on here? Like, I had no idea what was going to happen. And it really backfired on me once when Millie took me to a film, Anthony Hopkins, shout out to him recently. And I went into this film.
Shout out to Anthony.
And he has dementia, and I had no idea what it's about. So he's confusing his daughter with someone else or something in his house, and he's freaking out. I'm there actually, like, because it's done from his point of view, thinking this is like a thriller, like someone is like these people are trying to trick him, and I'm just going, this is so etch, man. This poor guy, and then you're like, oh shit, like it's about dementia. It's from his point of view, but it was a good experience. You know what I mean? Where you go, I have no idea what's going to happen.
Go in fresh.
Go in fresh.
Go in fresh.
Go in fresh.
Shout out to Chrissy Nolan. We will be seeing that.
Punters and dribblers, the new offering from your good friends Tom and Eddie and the people at Be Good Health is hitting the shelves. Oh, Daylights, daily electrolytes.
Get it?
Watermelon flavoured, obviously salty because any electrolyte worth its salt has salt. This salt is sourced from the Murray River, the only naturally occurring pink salt, I believe, in the Southern Hemisphere. If not, it's the nation. Do your own research.
832 milligrams of glorious Murray River salt. Get that up your Tom. The perfect amount of sodium, baby.
Perfect.
Into the bod, help you rehydrate, keep you frothing on all cylinders. Now, when is it released? You might be asking at begoodhealth.com.au. This Sunday, okay? Everyone's going to be devastated because daylight savings is over. That's why Daylights comes in to make you feel a little bit better. Every box of Daylights bought this weekend gets a free Daylights bottle. Yeah, a free one. Get a box, get a free bottle. You're welcome. If you're a subscriber of Good Day, you will have early access on the Saturday, 24 hours before, because we love you and we want to say thanks. Making sense? BeGoodHealth.com.au, code Dribblers for 10% off. You cannot subscribe to Daylights yet. That will be coming in the future.
Worth mentioning as well that 8 out of 10 Australians are dehydrated. Whoops. Problem solved.
Also, newsflash, tastes fucking delicious.
Tastes.
We keep running out in the studio because the boys pound it into the earth. That's a fact. Yep. Find out for yourself, begoodhealth.com.au this Sunday. Subscriber this Saturday. In Rugby League, Sebbo, I wanted to get your thoughts on Latrell Mitchell to centre.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait to see what happens. I don't know if it's a permanent thing. Like, there's so many variables here, right? He could be just easing him in after injury. There's people like, I don't know, it might have been Rule, people talking about doing, he plays centre, but in like 20 metres, he plays attack, or he plays fullback.
So Wayne
like,
has come out and said
role.
that he will be back at fullback, but when just coming back from injuries, and they've had some injuries to their back line, he'll just play in the centres for the first couple of weeks.
Okay, so he's finding his feet at centre.
Yeah, but I tell you what's crazy. Jai Gray's leading the Dally M.
Is he really?
Jai Gray's leading the Dally M.
Mate, he's such an inspiration to short people everywhere. He has to be.
Yeah, he's just got ticker.
You know, that you can survive on ticker.
Yeah.
On a healthy diet of ticker, one can survive.
Yeah.
Because you'd be mistaken for thinking a 5'5" guy can't play rugby league. Not at the highest level, not first grade, or however tall he is. He's fucking short.
Yeah.
He's leading the Dally M, mate.
Mate, he would have. People like him would have laid the most brick at Fort Denison, I reckon. Where it's like
100%.
there's these
Well, the reason it's not bigger than it is they didn't fucking employ enough Jai Greys.
But no, I like if he was not having such a good year, you're like, okay, yeah, sure, but I like that. I like it's not going to happen. It's too fucking convoluted. But it's like if Jai can just do all the tough stuff, and then Latrell just jump in. When it's all the attacking, because
Latrell doesn't love doing the tough stuff, and that's with all due respect.
And we don't have the greatest, like we don't have your Totos, like guys who can just get us meterage out of there. Jai's actually the smallest guy on the field is like making our most meters out of our own end. I feel.
Well, he's the tiny nut trucker that could.
Yeah,
if he's prepared to do the tough stuff coming out of danger, and then Latrell can just be Latrell. Yeah. In the attacking 20, attacking hard.
I haven't played rugby league before, but is it that hard to maybe give it a go? But I get Wayne's probably it's like let's just keep it simple. But look, I don't care if he's at centre now. Like there'll be something like I feel if Latrell was at centre under any other coach, you might go, oh, this is a bit weird. Is there something etch going on? Is he upset? I feel with Wayne there, you can just go whatever. Like the right thing is being done. Where he's either spoken to Latrell the right 100%, way or you just 100%.
Like... And because Wayne's done it, no one gives a shit. Yeah. If another coach had done this would be on the front page of the paper.
Yeah. Yeah. If this is some new coach trying to like come up with... Like he wouldn't be able to speak to Latrell the way Wayne can, So it's just... You don't worry.
Donk Riles, if he did, it'd be like, oh, he's lost his mind. What's he doing? But like Latrell's a great centre.
Yeah.
I think you can win comfortably against the Chooks.
Yeah, same. Unless something, but I'm so wary of early on bounce backs for teams before teams actually go, oh, we're fucked. They just always have these bounce backs in a derby game. But I think we can win pretty well. Can you
get the fixtures up, Tobler, quickly?
Because the Chooks, who have they got?
Mate, there's a terrific, it's actually a fucking pretty good round. Raiders, Sharks, you got the whole, like, South thing going on. Panthers, Cowboys, whatever. But Rabbitohs, Roosters, absolute ripper. Eels, Dragons, ripper. Obviously, that's like the Gutho game, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of emotion in a lot of these games.
Lot of emotion.
Like, a lot of teams need to win. Like, even Sharks.
That makes the Eels, Dragons one super tricky, I reckon. Because the Eels have to win. But then the Dragons just beat the Storm.
But it's hard to come once you have that high. Like you can pretend that you can ride that high to the next game. But when you're letting out those roars like Gutho did and stuff, like it's hard to get yourself back up.
Great point. They've almost played their grand final in a sense.
It will come back to them, but you just need to have it. Like I yesterday playing golf, Shoalhaven Heads. Shout out Berry. Shout out Shoalhaven Heads. Shout out the Berryview Motel where I stayed as well. If you ever need to go down, have a round of golf or impress the missus, go there. But point being, I stuck a fucking 140-metre shot to 1 foot in the pin, birdied that guy. What happens to the next hole? I've got the emotions running. I wipe the next hole. My one bad drive of the day.
There you go.
Why? Because I'm just so high in the emotion.
You're so high.
Yeah.
People think that if you have a cunt of a hole, you're going to have an even worse next one. It's usually the other way around.
It's the other way around. Yeah.
It's you have a great one and then you're going to shit the bed.
People who don't understand human emotion
or the human condition
will go, they're going to be so confident. You go, yeah, maybe. But if they were riding a high that you can't get back to, there might be a lull.
What's more Dragons than beating number 1 week and losing the Eels the next?
Yeah.
What's more Dragons than that?
Yeah, when you put it like that. And the Eels are desperate.
Desperate. They are going to be a desperate dog. A desperate dog. I'm looking forward to that. 3 p.m. Saturday, that's where it belongs.
That's my favourite slot, by the way, as well. You'll find out what. Like, when you have kids and you do what I do for work in the week, there's no fucking way in hell you get to do anything on Saturday. So, So you basically go, okay, you go do what you want. Maybe that's around 10:30. And I'm just, doing stuff, playing with them, maybe going for a walk. But once 3 p.m. hits, I'm like, yes, kids can play on the floor. I can watch the footy. You're just waiting for it all day.
Yeah.
And it comes.
Yeah.
It used to be the worst one because you had all this shit going on.
Well, no, but it was the worst one because you're out and about. You don't see it.
Exactly. But when you're trapped at home, it's the best one. So I'm excited that it's actually that one.
Not too late.
Nah.
Not too early.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's great.
Titans, Dolphins.
Fuck, I love the Titans.
Again, the Dolphins need a win.
Yeah, they haven't been playing terribly, but they're not been playing good.
I like the Titans.
I just love the Titans. Are like been my second team for a couple of years now. Like the ones that I just want to see them win. Playing good footy, playing interesting footy, unorthodox footy. Jaden Campbell just bloody number 7 on his back. Tino's a fucking monster.
They've got good players.
Yeah.
AJ last week was a beast,
Yeah.
dude. Just went looking for nut.
Yeah.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
They're like, it feels like they're ready to play a little bit, you know, where they're like, we're the fucking Titans. We're the Goldie guys. Like, let's fucking play. Where years got, you know, previously they were like, I guess so, you know, like.
Well, they've got Des up there, mate. And when
Yeah.
you've got a great head of hair leading you around,
Yeah.
I feel like it's easy to play rugby league at the highest level.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough.
Broncos, Tigers, 7:30. I mean, it's not.
I won't finish this game.
It's not. It's not tickling my balls.
Unless Tigers are pumping them, I wouldn't like. You know when you have those memories? I've had one. I was on a golf trip once, and it was the beginning of the Broncos' descent from like 6th to like wooden spoon or something. Tigers were paying $8 and versing the Broncos, and I jumped on the $8. And for some reason, now I've got that punting memory. Anytime I see a Tigers Broncos matchup, I'm just like, I'm always think of that, and I always think Tigers can win it. I just don't think they can win it this time around, right?
$6.
$6, so it's getting close to that auto bet stage.
It's getting really close to auto bet.
Because anyone can win in rugby league.
Anyone, and you're going to give me $6?
Yeah.
You're going to give me $6?
They're without Jerome Luai as well.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Ah,
yeah.
right.
Which gives that a bit more
If they had
context.
Luai, I would take it. I'd take it every day of the week.
100%. Seagulls Storm, Battle of Brookie, Sunday, 4 o'clock. Fuck the Eagles are getting a lot of Sunday games back to back.
Sunday
At Brookie.
Brookies at 4.
This is our third in a row.
Third Sunday game in a row at Brookvale.
Yeah.
And that's unheard of.
It was a 6 p.m., then 4 p.m. last week and 4 p.m. this week.
That is absolutely unheard of. This is an absolute ripper.
You got
in
a dream
particular.
run. Yeah. I mean, I don't know who's going to win here. Manly without Turbo are a different team, but Storm are looking pretty clunk.
Manly's found a way to win without Turbo in the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, you have, but not like...
Obviously, it's a different kettle of fish. Storm coming off a loss.
Storm Cup, but they're coming off a back-to-back loss. So they're the opposite of the Dragons we're talking about. They've gone through back-to-back wipes. That happened to me. I had 36 in my sights, back-to-back wipes. Fuck, am I even going to get over 30 points? Birdie next time.
So you think they win?
I'm just saying. There's so many factors, right? But if we're talking the human psyche, I believe Storm have the advantage of human psyche here.
Would this be their second wipe in a row, though? Didn't they? They lost to the Dragons. Now this would be another loss, potentially. They didn't lose the week
No,
before.
who did they play the week before? Who'd they play?
I don't think they lost the week before.
Oh, maybe they didn't. No, they had a bye. That's why.
They had a bye.
Yes.
No, they beat the Panthers.
Beat the Panthers.
They lost that game technically. They lost to only beat the Panthers by 6 without Cleary.
Right, so
like,
you're counting
I'm
tight
counting
wins,
that as a loss.
Tight wins as losses.
I'm counting that as a loss.
Right, okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I've got no idea. Coin flip. Get the drachmas out.
Get the Drachmas out and then Dogs Knights. I don't mind the Knights off a draw bye.
This is
I don't mind if a bye.
I
People are all touching themselves over the Doggies. I'm like, are you that good?
But so they beat the Sharks, but I feel Sharks, no offense to them, if a team who Dogs weren't meant to win, Kickows out, Burton's out, if you beat the Sharks, it's like Sharks are a weird one where it's just like they are a top 4 side, and you did beat a top 4 side, but they allow shit like that to happen to them. You know what I mean? They allow stuff like that to happen to them. So it's like, are they really that good? Or is it just the Sharks are just a bit inconsistent and cheerleader effect type thing? I don't know who's going to win.
I think the Sharks might have the cheerleader effect a little bit. Like you get up close, not that high.
Yeah, they're really... Yeah, they're... The Sharks are a funny one. They're just like they're in purgatory. I feel
They are in purgatory.
and I don't think they're going to get out either side.
I can't
anytime soon.
see them getting out of purgatory for a while. Stuck in between worlds. You're not scrapping for the 8 every year, and you're not going to win the comp. You're just sort of stuck there at the bottom of the top 4.
And depending how much you squint,
4.
if you squint, you're like, oh my God, this is an amazing side. They could probably push for a prem. Yeah. Or sometimes if you look at it from a different angle, you're like, this side's actually just okay.
Yeah.
Like
they're okay.
They're okay. They should be what par is for the course.
Yeah,
like,
they're lacking a bit of sex appeal when you get up close.
Yeah.
Like, you're not that sexy.
Yeah, like there's no filters on you now. I can see clearly now.
And I don't love it. I don't love what I'm looking at. Because you have said that they're not that hot and they don't have much sex appeal, which I agree with. We're going to say they're grumpy. The code for Grumpy Coffee this week was set at the start of the week, which was what, Tobler? Storm. So the Sharks would be grumpy, so they need a Grumpy Coffee, but the code's Storm. Get it? We only get 1 code a week. We do 2 shows. Are you following? Use it at grumpycoffee.com.au for 10% off. Go get your ground, your beans, your pods, make smart decisions. It's a fucking terrific drop. It's a terrific brew. Sebbo, thanks for joining us, brother.
Thanks for having us.
Love your work, mate. Huge fan of it.
A lot of fun.
Could you two just not talk anymore?